This tutorial is part of our full stack React Django DRF channels project, DJ Chat. You can watch this tutorial and many more from our YouTube course playlist, or the whole course, including access to additional resources from our Udemy course. The Udemy course link, which provides the best price for the course, is in the video description. Now, before you start this section of the course, you will need to have Node.js installed so that we can download different dependencies and start a new React project. So go ahead and access nodejs.org, select downloads, and then you'll be able to download the version of Node.js and install it for your particular operating system. Once you have successfully installed Node, you can head over to your terminal, or here I'm utilizing Visual Studio Code. I've typed in node -- version, and you can see that I have version 19.9 installed. So if you thought the previous section was quite large, well, welcome to this section. It's even bigger. There's a lot of work to do here in the front end. We're now going to focus in on actually utilizing the endpoint we created in the previous section. But in addition to that, we're going to build some templates and get everything mapped out so that we can then start to work forward from there and include more features into our application. The first task, of course, is to create a new React project. In this section, of course, we're going to be building this interface. So you can see this interface is made up of around about 4 or 5 different components. We have the header section, we have this left navigation area, we have a middle navigation area here for the categories, and then the main window. And you can see what's going to happen here. What we're going to develop initially is we're going to make sure we include light and dark mode. We're going to have the ability to be able to close and open up different drawers here, and as well as being able to navigate the categories. Now, remember, the data is going to be coming from our API endpoint that we created in the previous section. Now, we will be reusing all of these different component structures. So eventually, once we've completed this section of the course, we will then focus on the actual chat service. So if I navigate into one of these servers here, this is what we're going to then start to build. So this is the server interface where we'll be able to select different channels, so chat rooms, and you can see the text is changing because it's a different chat room. And then in the next section of the course, we'll then start to focus in on actually building this chat service as well as this interface so that we can actually start creating a chat room. Needless to say, there is a hell of a lot of work we need to do here, so let's get started. Right, let's get started. So we're going to be utilizing Vite to create a new React project. So we won't be using create React app here. So let's go ahead and, well, let's do exactly that. So let's go ahead and npm Vite, or should we say create Vite? Pronouncing it correctly, I presume, Vite. So let's give this a name of a project. So we're going to call this front end. Now, actually, before we do this, let's cancel that operation. Let's just make sure we're in the right directory before we even begin. So we want to be in the directory, in the root directory with the vent folder here. Yep. So we are in the root directory. That's important before we start. So let's just run that again. And let's call this, call it whatever you like. I just call this front end, or you could call it DJ chat front end or React front end. DJ referring to Django. So we could call this React chat. Let's call it React chat, shall we? There we go. And then we can select our framework. So let's go for React. And we're using TypeScript here. Now, I probably haven't already mentioned, we are going to be developing this application with TypeScript. Now, SWC is completely optional. So SWC is a compiler written in Rust. So it really doesn't matter if you select it or not. This is designed to be a replacement for Babel, the most popular JavaScript compiler. SWC is touted to be more efficient and faster at compiling TypeScript code. The reality, of course, for our application is that we're not necessarily going to see any benefit of using either SWC or the default. So it's completely optional whether you use it or not. Right, so I'm going to select it, and I think now we're ready to get started now. So now we've done that, we are told what to do. So we need to cd into React Chat, and then we need to npm install. Right, so with that done, we are now going to run npm run dev. Give that a go. So let's go ahead and open up the browser to localhost 5173 port. So on your screen, you should see a screen similar to this. It may have changed with the version that you've downloaded, but this just indicates the fact that our project has successfully started. So let's quickly take a look at our new React project. You can see we have a public folder with an SVG, so we can get rid of that. We don't need that. So we just clean up everything that we're not going to need here. If we take a look, we've got this CSS file here. We can remove that. It's the app CSS file. Not going to need that. The app file here. We'll make changes to that. We'll just make a quick change now. So let's just get rid of that there. We're not going to need any of that. So we'll just remove everything from the app there. That's the app.tsx file. This index, CSS index, we can remove. Let's get rid of that. And the main can remain like that. We just need to remove the import CSS file. And yeah, there we go. So that just tidies that up. Notice that it does include a git ignore file. So in terms of managing our Git repository, it already has all the main ignore folders and files we want to ignore. That includes, importantly, the node modules, which is going to be a massive folder. So we definitely don't want to have that synced to our repository, our GitHub repository. So that's already set up for us, so we don't need to do anything there. If you are completely new to React, let's just take a look at the entry point, the general flow, what's happening here. So let's imagine we were to initiate this project. You can see we have an index.html file. In this file here, you can see that it's connected to this component main.tsx file. So that's going to be initiated. And you can then see that in this file, it then references the app component here, and then the app component gets initiated. We don't necessarily need to provide you an overview on all the different files here at this point. If you are interested, then do check out the React documentation, which will give you an overview of all the different files inside of a typical React repository.